Every once in a while I make a video that I really am like, man, I wish I knew this earlier than when I learned it, because it was something I had to learn the hard way. So part of what we're trying to do here is create content always on Real Rap with Reynolds that is stuff I wish I knew before I learned it, so that I could have had happier days and avoided a lot of mistakes. But today's question is, what do you do when you make a mistake? Uh-oh, I made a mistake. And that could be a lot of things, right? There's a lot of versions of this that I can't go into all of them. I'm going to go into a couple of them today to kind of give you a framework or an idea. And then depending on who you are and how you handle things, this is just like, I think these are beneficial ways that I have found to kind of not just deal with mistakes, but sometimes skirt around them so you just can keep getting on with the learning. So the first thing is, look, sometimes mistakes are little, they're silly, it's not that big of a deal, but they can be embarrassing, right? So I am an undiagnosed dyslexic, meaning that growing up, dyslexia wasn't really talked about, ADHD wasn't talked about so much. And so, but I did a really good job of being a good boy and just sitting there. That being said, that went a little into the rabbit hole, but when I'm learning now, even when I'm writing stuff, I have a tendency to hurry. I have a tendency to not proofread as deeply. Although I look over everything again, I make mistakes. And even the best of us, right? Even those that got, perfect score in their SAT, you're still going to make mistakes. And so what do you do when it's a simple mistake? When you have something very easy that kids call you out on. And so that might look like you had a spelling error on a test or a worksheet. You spelled something wrong on the board. You used incorrect grammar. You created a multiple choice assessment, and one of the right answer is not there, or there's two right answers on there, right? And you kind of that's something that I remember when I started teaching, and I remember a specific moment in student teaching, which I'm going to call you out, Brett Miller. Not that I know that you watch this, but you made me feel like a fool one day. Brett knew something. I couldn't remember apart from the book how something happened. And someone asked me a question about that part of the book. I couldn't remember. And Brett Miller looked at me like, yo, why are you even teaching us right now? You don't even know. Like, why do we know more about this than you do? And I thought, I feel so dumb. I'm giving myself detention today. So those are things now that if I have a spelling mistake, I handle it with, the F word that not all schools like. It's called fun. And so in that, I'll say something like, you found the spelling error? All right, there might be, I'm not saying there might be two more in there. So if you find the spelling error or the grammar error, what I want you to do is circle it, put the correction above it, and then anyone that has that, I will give extra credit to on the assignment, right? This is a good thing to give extra credit for. Kids are learning to proofread, they are reading analytically, or they're reading carefully, and they're finding issues and fixing problems. And so that's just one way. So I act like I was supposed to do it anyway, bro. I'm not acting like, there are two right answers on there. I'm glad someone's paying attention. Somebody found that in there. And so the kids usually know that's nonsense, but sometimes they won't. Sometimes they really think that you are trying to do this. But I think it's taking that loss and turning it into a lesson. It's taking that mistake and turning it into something that is actually a learning experience. So that's one way when you have kind of these easy, like not crucial moments where you screwed up, like the one I'm going to get into next. But I think that's a really good idea. So another thing is, what do you do when it is a bigger mistake, right? So when you really, we're going to go screw up. I had a student that, and this is not even a one-timer. This isn't something I only did once in my life. I wish it was. Where, let's say, you think someone's cheating and you call them out on, you're so confident, you're so sure they're cheating, you want to make a moment. We're going to make an example out of you, right? This is like old school rounds. We're going to make an example out of you. and you call that kid out. You put him on blast, right? Maybe you do it and it's like in front of everyone. It's a whole big deal, right? And then you find out later that kid wasn't cheating anyway, right? Maybe someone is, classic, you're writing on the board, someone throws something behind you or does something behind you or says something or makes a noise or whatever. Turn around, already know who it was. It was Tim or Aaron, because they're always doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Aaron, because Aaron's laughing and doubled over in his seat and can't believe how funny this is. Aaron, talk to me after class. You know what? You got a 0 on this assignment right now. Then that turns into this whole power struggle and word fight, and Aaron's appalled, and I didn't even do it this time, Reynolds. And that's where this goes, right? So what do we do when you find out later that, someone that you trust comes up to you, Jordan walks up to you and Jordan says, yo, Reynolds, for real, that wasn't even Aaron. My boys would never tell me who it was, but they always say, like real rap, it wasn't Aaron. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I'm telling you, Aaron had nothing to do with it. He was just laughing afterwards. And now you have this moment where you publicly shamed a child in front of all their friends, which is what matters most of them in the whole world, and they didn't even do it. So what do we do in those moments where we possibly accuse someone of doing something, for talking, for cheating, something of that nature? Now, there could be other large issues, but I think that this is the one I'm going to kind of give you the example for, and then you can kind of plug and play what works for you in this. I think the first thing that you need to do when this happens, and this is a big one, this is a hard one for teachers, is apologize. And so, why is this important? To even talk about. This might seem a no-duh for many of you. When we have been taught oftentimes to teach the way that we teach, it is about running a dictatorship. It is about you being the head I'm the head of this situation. Y'all are going to listen to me. You're going to do exactly what I say. And if you step out of line, you're going to hear it from me, right? And it's not my teaching model. And maybe it's yours and that works for you, but I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I think this is more about helping kids to grow into who they're going to be. And how do we do that? We got to show them that we are fully fleshed out, fully functioning human beings and adults that are actually a little bit processed. And so sometimes you might have to fake this, right? It might have really aggravated you. It might be really embarrassing for you to say, I'm sorry. You might look like when the Fonz used to do this on Happy Days. I'm dating myself here, but he could not say he was wrong. Many of you remember this. When we apologize to kids, we are showing them that we are fallible. We are showing them that we make mistakes. And so here's the issue that I think a lot of teachers, the reason they don't apologize is they think it takes their power away. Now, although we are learning communicatively and we are all part of this together, I am the leader. That does come with power. What does leadership mean? John Maxwell would say that leadership equals influence. I have influence over young people. And so in that, I want to make sure that that's a good influence. That's a positive influence. That's a strong influence. And so I want to apologize to not only let you know that I'm sorry, let you know that I screwed up, let you know that I was, acting out of pocket. I want to apologize to you to show you what an earnest and heartfelt apology looks like. And these are one of those soft skills that we teach kids that is more important than a lot of the hard skills we teach them. But apologizing in a way that shows kids that I'm actually sorry. Now, this can look like a couple of things, right? Because not everyone wants the same kind of apology. And when you do it, you have to be real careful. And I'm speaking from experience here, not to come off like a jerk. If you apologize and you sound like a jerk, no one's going to listen to you, right? They're going to it makes everyone upset. So you can't be like, listen, I make mistakes sometimes. I'm human. That's why I do. It's like, no. I want you to know, Aaron, I called you out yesterday and I apologize. I was out of pocket. I should have done the homework first before I just reacted like that. And I want you to know in front of everyone that I really apologize. And I want all of you to know that I shouldn't have acted like that. I'm sorry if I messed up your class yesterday. I'm sorry that if we had something good going or if that you were looking forward to being here, if you were liking the activity and I screwed that up for you, that I apologize. Doing something like that is going to have a drastic effect on students for all the reasons that I mentioned. Now, the other thing you might want to be mindful of is sometimes Aaron will come back the next day and he's visibly already aggravated about this. So I try to hit it up before the end of the day. There's a couple options here. One is to call Aaron aside, apologize to him in private, maybe ask him to go get a drink or go to the bathroom, and then address the class. Not all kids want public affirmation either. They don't even want you to let everyone know that they were right and you were wrong in public. It's too much attention, especially this kind of like sort of post-COVID moment where we're having so many social emotional issues in the classroom. We want to make sure that we are being mindful of not just caring for kids, but caring for them in a way that's going to impact them the most. So it's being mindful of that as well. And then, you know, the other piece of this is that here's why I think this next part is important. An author that I love, this guy Oliver Jeffers, accredits his father with saying this, but he says that what are the first two things that children learn? Like, so think about a couple of things that kids learn how to do when they're babies. And one of those, he says, is to walk. And the other one is to talk. And when kids enter school, what are the two things that we teach them almost from the jump? Is to sit down and to shut up, right? And so we're constantly working, navigating kids through this, right? Like, so now we are kind of undoing some of that in our classrooms, right? If you're showing up, you're not someone that wants kids to just sit down and shut up. Sometimes you do need kids to sit down and shut up, but there's a reason behind it. And then we want kids to have a voice though, right? It's important for young people to have a voice. So one of the things that I love to do in these moments, and this is a hard one, right? Is we are showing kids, we want to empower our students to have thoughts and to know how to express them. We are actually empowering them to push back and to speak their truth. So again, we want kids, and I'm going to talk about how you do this, right? So some of you might be going, this is the stupidest of what are you talking about? We're going to have kids just talking back to us, acting out of pocket, yelling at us in class. That's not what I'm talking about, right? So, but I am talking about we want kids to push back and speak their truth. And it's not just truth, right? It's the their part is theirs. Because, well, we'll get to that. When doing this, though, it is important when addressing the class, when talking to students, when saying like, you know what, I was out of pocket yesterday and Aaron did say something back to me. And I want you all to know that your voice is important, that your truth is important, that your thoughts and feelings and how you're processing something is important. And I want you to always, if I am wrong or if I'm right, or if you think someone else is wrong in class or you're getting bullied or whatever's happening to you in life, right, when you feel like you are being victimized, I want you to know that you have power, know that you can speak your truth, and know that that truth can often set you free. And so the idea here is that we are teaching students, though, we're going to show them how to do this with respect and at the right time. You can't just do this whenever you want, right? If the pastor's giving a sermon and you don't agree with it, I mean, if you agree with it, you can yell amen. But if you don't agree with it, no one goes, hold on a second. I have an issue with this, right? When you're in class, it's not always the time and the place. It can be, but you have to lead things with respect. Why? Because respect gets other people to it. One, you're modeling how you want to, we teach people how we want to be treated. So you're treating people the way you want to be treated. And the other kind of, not without going into this too deeply, it is also showing kids what it looks like to be respectful, right? You're modeling that behavior for them. And so it's telling kids when the right time is. I'm available before school, during lunch, or after school. I'm available. I have a prep this period. I have whatever it is. You're giving kids an opportunity to be able to do that. You have to let them know when the times are. So if the time right now isn't the time, we got to tell kids when the time is so that they can make the move to take the steps to come in and speak their truth. And You know, the last thing I think that really what we're doing here is so big, is we are addressing situations in real time. We're learning how to have uncomfortable conversations, which is the last thing I want to talk about in a second. But we're teaching kids how to have empathy, how to have sympathy, how to work through problems. And look, when doing this, it can be, I think that by and large, our success in life in anything is our willingness and our ability to have uncomfortable conversations. If you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship, like dating someone else, you're in a job, you're in a scenario where someone's coming at you. Sorry about that, the answering machine went off. In all of these things, when learning how to have an effective, uncomfortable conversation, we're actually going to be more successful. You can't be in a long-term relationship with anyone unless you either shut down or you learn to have uncomfortable conversations and you grow together. So the hard part about this is that young people don't often do this. They don't know how to do this. So with all your will, you have to learn that when someone comes to talk to you, you have to listen to all of it. You can't stop them. You can't shush them. You can't tell them to hold on a second. You're wrong about that. Let kids get it out. They are often not used to the process of having an uncomfortable conversation. You need to be able to let them learn how to do that. And so that might look like them vomiting their truth and not just speaking their truth. But you want to be able to help them walk through that scenario. Let them do it without feeling like you have to hurry them up or correct them or anything like that. Let them have their process. And again, so what are we learning here, right? In doing this, we're teaching kids empathy. We're teaching them listening skills. We're teaching them how to go from a loss that they thought they had to a lesson. And this is something for teachers too. It's not just taking L's all the time. It's changing that L from what you thought was a loss to teaching or learning a lesson, moving forward together from that. And so that's I'm trying to keep it. I don't want to take up all your time. I want to respect it. I feel like you keep going on and on about this and give 1,000 other examples, but we're going to keep it together. If you need anything else from us, you should go to realrapwithreynolds.com if you want, or are looking for a speaker for your school this summer or this fall. Please email us at realrapwithreynolds.com. We'll give you all the necessary information. And look, if you're not part of our Facebook group, it is the greatest Facebook group on the internet. I'm going to say that with conviction because it is. Go right to Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook, and you can find us there. We'll see you next week, gang. Peace.